Okay, so you know all those memes about moving to Canada, the ones that kind of take over the internet every election night.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it turns out they might be more than just jokes this time.
Yeah.
We're going to do a deep dive today into something really fascinating.
Okay.
There was a huge spike in move to Canada searches online, like right after Donald Trump beat Kamala Harris on November 5th.
It's pretty interesting. It's actually a pattern we've seen before, too.
Yeah.
You remember the 2016 election, right?
Oh, yeah.
And even that crazy Biden-Trump debate we had back in June of 24. So this surge in search traffic, I think it shows there's a deeper emotional response to politics than we sometimes realize.
Okay, so this isn't just like a random blip. It's like a pretty significant jump then, right?
Absolutely. We can actually quantify it, too. Google Trends data shows that searches for how to move to Canada went up, like way up, like 400%.
Wow.
And it gets even more interesting. Searches for how to legally move to Canada, those doubled. So people weren't just messing around. They were actually looking for real information.
So that's like a really clear signal that people are at least thinking about it.
And if you want to see just how serious people were, get this. Searches for moving to Canada requirements.
Like the nitty-gritty.
Yeah. The fine print, those shot up over 5,000%.
That's insane.
It's like everyone was packing their virtual bags and checking off their to-do list for moving.
So I have to ask, did the Canadian immigration website crash this year?
Well, they've kind of been through this before, right?
Yeah.
Back in 2016, their website did actually crash.
Oh, right.
Because of all the American dreamers suddenly looking for info, I'd say they were probably more ready this time.
Probably a little bit more prepared.
Yeah.
So it seems like fleeing to Canada has become like the go-to coping mechanism for some Americans whenever things get a little rough politically.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And this
Oh.
time it seems like it was even more popular in those states that voted for Harris.
Oh.
Vermont, Oregon, Washington. Those were the hot spots for move to Canada searches.
It makes you wonder what it is about Canada that's so alluring, especially in times like these. Why is it like the promised land for people who are feeling disillusioned with the U.S.?
I mean, Canada, they've really worked on their image, right?
Yeah.
You know, they're seen as this more progressive, more tolerant place. And they're open to immigrants, which a lot of people find really appealing, especially when you look at what's going on in the U.S. right now.
Yeah, it's like this mirror reflecting what a lot of people wish America could be. But how many of these people are actually serious? Like, how many are actually going to pack their bags and go?
That's a good question. You know, we have to look at the reality of moving to another country. It's not as easy as just searching for it on Google. These spikes don't always mean everyone's moving. It's more like a way for people to show their frustration.
But that 5,000% jump for immigration requirements,
Hmm.
that's got to mean some people are serious, right? Like, maybe they're already checking out houses in Vancouver or something.
Maybe a few are. But even if they really want to move, there are some big roadblocks. For one, Canada's actually making it harder to immigrate.
Oh, really?
They want to lower the number of new immigrants from 500,000 in 2023 down to 395,000 by 2025.
So it's not exactly like open arms then. It's more like, come in, but only a few of you.
Exactly. And then there's the job market.
Well, yeah.
Their unemployment rate's at 6.5%. And for young people, it's even worse, like 14% for ages 15 to 24. Not exactly the land of opportunity people think it is.
So even if you do get through all the immigration stuff, actually starting a new life there, it's tough. It's a reality check for sure.
It is. We saw the same thing in 2016. And even during that debate last June between Biden and Trump, it's becoming a pattern now, this collective, I got to get out of here feeling.
It's like letting off steam.
Mm-hmm.
People showing they're frustrated, but maybe also finding something to laugh about in
Yeah.
a tough situation.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, what does this whole fleeing to Canada thing say about Americans?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. It's like some people are disillusioned. They feel like their country doesn't represent them anymore. And it's not just about getting away from a specific election result. It's about finding a place where you feel like you belong.
So this whole move to Canada trend, even if it's just a fantasy, it shows us what people are really feeling, their anxieties, their hopes. It all comes out in how we react to politics. It really makes you think when so many people are thinking about leaving, even if they don't actually go. What does that say about America?
It kind of feels like a national identity crisis, doesn't it? When people feel so disconnected from their own country that they'd rather be somewhere else, that raises some big questions about what's going on here.
And what about Canada in all of this? What is it about them that makes them so appealing, at least to some Americans?
Well, Canada has a certain reputation, right? They're seen as more progressive,
Hmm.
more tolerant, welcoming to immigrants. And every time we see this move to Canada thing after a big election, it just makes that image even stronger.
So they're like a safe haven, a place to escape the chaos. But it's more than just getting away from politics, isn't it?
Right. It's deeper than that. It's about finding a place that matches your values, or you feel like you belong, where you have a community.
So no matter how you feel about the election results, this whole move to Canada thing tells us a lot about what's going on in America. It reminds us that elections are about so much more than just politics. They're about our values and where we feel like we fit in.
It really does. And it makes you wonder, what can we do to make America feel more like home for everyone? How can we fix the things that make people want to leave, even if it's just a daydream?
That's a question for all of us, no matter what side of the political aisle we're on. Because a strong country is a country where everyone feels like they belong. And maybe by talking about these move to Canada moments, we can figure out how to build that kind of country right here.